let's go get it started because I think people will be jumping in and we've got to get Adam cooking. So we've got to prioritize this. So, hey everybody, I'm Marie Gill. I work with the Green Apron crew. You've got some amazing people who volunteer countless hours. Thank you, Alex and Courtney, for all the work you do. Jennifer's here as well. She's our amazing guru of collecting all cool things from our past. So make sure you get her some cool stuff. But wow, we're at the end of probably one of the craziest years that I think any of us have ever gone through or thought we'd ever go through. So we're getting close to the end, and to celebrate coming to such a great monumental moment, we've got Adam Diamond here tonight to help us finish this year off with a huge bang. But before I kick it over to Adam, I want to make sure you guys know that next year, 2021, is going to be our year. We've got some amazing programs planned. We've got some incredible content coming right out of the gate. So I want to make sure that each of you have your profile set up on Green Apron so that you can participate and join us. Right early in January, we're going to have a renowned author, Dolly Chu, who wrote the book that I have sitting right here, The Person You Mean to Be. If you get a chance, make sure you go get this book. It's my personal white person Bible. It's how good people fight bias. And so it's a great book, but Dolly is the author and she will be joining us on the 14th of January. So I want to make sure you guys participate with us then. We've also got a birthday celebration. January 25th is Green Apron Alliance's official birthday. So we're going to try and plan something really fun and creative to celebrate that. And Courtney is helping us pull together some really fun, low stress, no stress, fun events coming up. So I won't go into too much detail because it's all kind of being formed right now, but you can expect cool things like yoga, and you can expect some really great events, many more like the ones that Adam is going to present to us tonight. So I'm glad to see so many fun faces here. I love these events. It warms my heart to it's amazing. So with that, I want to make sure that you guys know all that you need to know about this crazy guy who is committed to helping us out here. So I don't know if you guys know this, but Adam went to culinary school and he's actually was an executive chef. He started at Starbucks in 1994.
Yes.
1994 as store operations, and now he's the director of brand strategy for Asia Pac. He is married and he's hidden his 3 children away in the bowels of his home. They might pop in, so don't be surprised if you see them come into the kitchen there. But Adam is not only is he always working with food and great cocktails and a great brand strategist, but he's also just a really fun guy. So we're very lucky to have him here tonight. This is a low-key night. We are going to ask that if you've got a question, just pop it into the chat. Alex is going to be running, I don't know, she's going to be controlling that. Courtney is also going to be helping with us as well. And we are recording this because there's a lot of people who wanted to be here but could not. So we will record it, we'll get it edited. And then secret surprise, you guys are in on the know, but Adam has prepared all the recipes he's going to be sharing with us tonight on a PDF, and we'll be posting those on the Green Apron Alliance network for you guys to download and use and share with all your friends. So with all the love and all the amazing appreciation we can share, Adam, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and please take it away.
Oh, thank you so much, Marie. And thank you everyone for inviting me and giving me the honor to invite you into my kitchen. Brought to you by Crisco, the grease of Hanukkah. For those of you that
they still make that.
Oh yes, and it is a Jewish household staple because it's kosher. It's not lard, so this is actually preferred oil. So Anyway, why are we talking about latke today? So Alex and I had a chance to reconnect, really. We've been friends on Facebook forever. And she reached out and said, hey, would you be open to coming and doing this cooking show? Of course. And we got into thinking about what could potentially be some of the subjects or the recipes that we wanted to do. And I was like, this is smack dab in the middle of Hanukkah. And we are celebrating night 7 tonight. And it also got me thinking about the old vodka and latke party I used to throw. And I see some head nods because some of you have actually attended them. And the ploy for that party was really, I just wanted everyone to bring a bottle of vodka so that they would stock my bar. And so I would invite as many people as possible. Everyone would bring a bottle of vodka. We'd have drinks, mixers, and I'd be in the kitchen just cranking out latke as fast as I possibly could. So lots of fond memories and also kind of a family tradition. This recipe, or the recipes that I'm going to be sharing with you today, cover 3 different recipes. One is going to be your traditional kind of diamond family latke. And every Jewish family, just like matzo balls, ours is always the best. So it's really good. It's got the perfect amount of crisp. It's not flat like a pancake. The other 2 are inspired by 2 of the places that I've lived or have traveled in my time. So first is a Southwestern inspired. I lived in Arizona for a brief period of time. And the second one is a Japanese tonkatsu inspired, having lived in Japan for 2 years. And so I thought, why not add a little bit of flair to it? And so you'll get to see all 3. All 3 recipes are included. But before we do, I think everyone needs a cocktail. So the cocktail for this evening is a Washington apple sidecar. And so the ingredients are really, really basic. And it starts off with bourbon or whiskey of choice. This one happens to be from Woodinville. And it also includes some vodka, so choose your vodka. I personally prefer Grey Goose, some preferably orange bitters, and apple cider or apple juice. Really, really basic recipe. So you pretty much throw a few ice cubes into your cocktail shaker. If you don't have a cocktail shaker, you can also just put it in your glass and mix it up or stir it up with a spoon. You're gonna add that's about 4 ounces of bourbon or whiskey, because yeah. And maybe, I don't know, 4 ounces of vodka. We were just talking about serving sizes. Technically this serves 3, but who's counting? Then add your apple juice or cider. You can also use sparkling. That's also a nice twist. And just throw in add a couple dabs of the orange bitters. It's just a really nice aromatic. Place your lid on so you hopefully don't short circuit your computer. Give it a shake. And guys, I'm using my laptop, so there's gonna be a lot of this happening with the screen. I have a sugar rimmed glass and just pour it right in. You can take a slice of apple and ta-da, a Washington apple sidecar. I'm not going to drink this because I'm going to be dealing with hot oil, and that's a high risk item. All right. And please, first off, actually, before we go, I think everyone, if you are drinking anything, even if it's water, raise a glass, as we like to say, l'chaim. And I hope 2021 is an amazing year for the Green Apron Alliance. Cheers. Okay, I lied, I had a sip. All right, are we ready to get into potato madness? Okay. So I have got all of the ingredients kind of mapped out here. So I've got a whole slew of different spices and sauces, and I'm going to show you what to do with all of them, and I'll call them out individually. But the truth of the matter is latke are really easy to make, and they're super, they're basic. So the basic ingredients include russet potatoes, flour, onion, and egg, and salt and pepper. Like you couldn't get any more basic than that. And so this is a weapon of choice. This is also dangerous because everyone's had the knuckle experience. So if you're doing small amounts, this is great. So if you're doing it for like maybe a family of 4 or just like guests of 4, I would go with this. If not, crank out your giant Cuisinart and use the round blade. That is for mass production. So the amount that we're going to make today will be plenty for this. Just to give you context, when I am throwing a large party, this is the bowl that I use. And I have one just for latke. So that's what we're going to be doing. So I've done a little bit of pre-shredding. So there is a trick with latke in that when you're shredding your potatoes, there is a risk that if you wait too long, they're all going to oxidize, and then you get the ugly gray latke. So if you've ever had a potato pancake that's gray, it means it's been sitting there for a long time. And so this one, I've taken the shredded potato and I put it in some water, and I've added just a tiny bit of lemon juice just to keep it fresh. If you don't have a strainer, there is the old kitchen trick. I don't know if you guys know this, but literally just get a plate over your bowl and hold the plate on and just pour it, and it will come right out and strain. So that's an easy one. It also keeps you from having to get the strainer out. And eventually, as we're making this, we want to reduce as much water as possible because otherwise it's, it's going to splatter everywhere. And now I'm also thinking about how this trickling water sounds as I'm doing this. I'm like, that's not a pleasant sound. All right. So I'm going to discard the potato juice. You don't need to see me do that. And I'm going to take the shredded potato and I'm just going to add it to this metal bowl. Next up, I have shredded onion or grated onion. And so the amount of potato that I've used here, it's really about 2 russet potatoes. It's not a whole heck of a lot. And for the onion, it's about half of a yellow onion and just your typical yellow onion. And so I'm going to add this to it. And the onion also will help prevent the potato from oxidizing if you mix it up fast enough, which is a good thing for you to do. Now, there is also a trick I'm going to show you when it comes to grating onions. If you try and manually grate an onion on one of these, it will disintegrate, fall apart, and just increase your risk of bloody knuckle. And nobody wants a bloody knuckle latke. So what we do instead, when you're typically cutting an onion, you wind up cutting both ends of the onion off. Take the root end and keep that on. Then on the top side of the onion, just cut that part off and then peel away the skin. And what you're left with is essentially a little handle that you can use to grate against so it doesn't fall apart. So it's going to maintain the onion when you're doing that. So that's just like a super helpful trick. You will cry a lot. Light a candle next to your chopped onions. I've been told that that helps reduce the tearing. I don't know if it's true, but it makes me feel better when I do it. Now, added to your potato and onion mix, we are now going to add the wet ingredient, which is the egg. And so with the egg, I'm just going to add 2 of these guys. You don't necessarily need to beat it in advance. I just drop them right in. And then get a wooden spoon, or if you're like us, we'll just use our hands and go right in. This is not a pretty culinary exercise. It is messy, it is greasy, and you're going to get stuff all over your kitchen. Don't let that discourage you, by the way. You should totally do this, it's great. All right, so I'm mixing in the egg. And then the next thing we're gonna do is take some just regular all-purpose flour, and we're gonna use probably about like no more than 3/4 of a cup. What you want to make sure is that the mixture that you're creating is not the consistency of wallpaper paste. that would be bad. What you want to do, here's my child. What you want to do, Noah, you need to go. What you want is just enough flour that the mixture is kind of holding together, but not one giant doughy mass. You've gone too far if you've done that. So at this point, you can also, and as you can see, my natural reaction, I'm just using my hand without even thinking about it. So pepper, imagine I'm cracking the pepper. And just a little bit of salt. I use kosher salt just because it's less potent and it's easier to measure, and just a couple pinches. Mix it together. And congratulations, the base for a basic potato latke is done. So that is really easy. So consider this your base mixture, and it's going to be the same mixture we're going to use as the base for the other two latke. So you're getting 3 for the price of 1 in there. All right, now in comes the step of straining. So I now have this bowl and it's accumulated a lot of juice from the onion and the potato. I will take one of my mesh strainers, I'll put it over another bowl, and I will dump the entire thing into the mesh strainer. And that will help the potato drain as I'm forming them, because the art of forming a potato latke literally involves your hands. And so you're going to take maybe, I'd say that's about a 1/4 cup. We've got about a 1/4 cup of the mixture, and I'm going to squeeze it in between both hands just to get as much of that liquid out as possible. You don't need it to be like super, super tight. And if you don't have any moisture, then the inside of the latke is not going to steam. And so you want to make sure that there's kind of just enough. Okay, so my potato mixture looks like this. Now, this is ready to go right into the oil. But before I do that, I want to make sure that the oil is hot. Obviously around 300, well, not obviously, but 300 and, Noah, get out of here, dude. Around 350 to 375 degrees. And I wasn't joking. Crisco is the preferred way to do it. Don't be tempted for the cheaper version. It looks different, it smells different, and your potatoes will taste gross. This one is just a clean, it doesn't leave any flavor. There's a trick also that I'm going to share with you. Some people are a little nervous around frying. They don't know what temperature is really the right thing. My Chinese culinary instructor said, you don't need a thermometer to find out if your oil is hot enough. Get a wooden utensil. She always said, like, use a wooden chopstick, because wood always contains natural moisture from the air. And all you have to do is put the wooden item in and touch the bottom of the pan. And if it starts to boil, you're good, right? So I am now going to place the first latke into the frying pan, and I will gently ease it in. And I will show you what that latke looks like.
Adam, I have a question.
Yeah.
You know, when you grate the onion, it creates a lot of moisture from the grated onion. Do you get rid of that juice, or do you throw that in the latke mixture?
I just mix everything into the bowl together instead of straining it separately.
Okay, thank you.
I don't think that there would necessarily, like, I mean, potatoes do have a tendency to absorb some flavor. So the longer you would keep it mixed in, I think the more onion flavor. I like to use probably a lot more onion than most people do, because I like the taste of a fried onion and it adds sweetness.
Yeah.
So that to me is just like where you're getting most of your flavor. Otherwise, it's really just potato and flour and egg.
Right. Okay.
Right?
Thank you.
So I'm going to add a second one here and a third one. And generally speaking, I would not advise doing any more than 4 at a time, or you just lose control. Don't be tempted to, as we like to say, pachki. Pachki is, I don't know if pachki is a Yiddish word or not, but pachki means like mush around with stuff unnecessarily. So don't touch the latke if you don't absolutely have to, because they will have a tendency to start to fall apart. And so you can see there are some little bits that are floating around. That is perfectly fine. Those little crunchy bits are a sign that you're in the right direction, because if you don't have crunchy bits, then you added too much flour and it's all stuck together. So these are, yeah.
Sorry, Adam, I remember you said to me that you can't, once they're in the oil, I can't remember what the Hebrew word was, but you might be tempted to flatten them if you didn't flatten them really well with your hands, but just don't, right? Like leave them even if they're imperfect.
Don't squish your latke.
Should be on a t-shirt.
What don't squeeze the Charmin? Don't squish the latke. It's the same principle.
Right. It's the new Hanukkah t-shirt.
Exactly. What happens is, and it's the same thing actually with hamburgers. You know, you're always tempted to squeeze it. Well, if you squeeze a hamburger, all the juice comes out. If you squeeze a latke, all the oil goes in.
Okay.
So you're kind of creating an oil sponge again.
It's very tempting though when you see it in there. Okay.
So as these are cooking, it's generally 4, maybe 5 minutes on both sides. If you're cooking a whole bunch of these, I would strongly recommend, because they come out in batches, that you have an oven set on its lowest heating. My oven happens, well, some of my ovens have proofing settings, which is like 100, 150. That's perfect to just keep them warm without continuing to cook them. And that way you can do a whole lot and then serve them all at once. The other thing that you want is a sheet pan or cookie pan and paper towels. You don't necessarily have to have one of these bad boys, but it is convenient. You can also just put them directly on paper towels when you pull them out of the fryer to help reduce the grease. So I am very carefully now going to check on the latke, and they are not quite there yet. But my dog is, and she's very excited that I'm cooking latke. Anytime I'm cooking, she will come right under and stand right there, just waiting for
Adam,
anything.
I'd kind of do the same thing if I was there.
Oh, see, now I'm doing exactly what I said don't do. Don't hotchkick. Don't hotchkick. You got to recite that over and over.
It's really hard. People are asking if you deliver when you're opening your own restaurant.
When I open the latke shop?
Well, those of us know that you're capable of, so much more. But like your whole life revolves around food.
It kind of does. And I don't know about you guys, but like COVID has completely transformed my baking obsession. And I have reconfigured my entire kitchen around nothing but baking. So I haven't been spending as much time in savory land as I normally would. Everything has been inspired by the Great British Baking Show. And I fell into it. At first, I started watching it. I was like, ugh, I don't know if I can get into this. Everyone's so nice. And then I got sucked in and I was like, you know what? I could make that. I bet I could make that. I want to try making that. And next thing you know, I like binge watched everything. And every night was like up until 2 o'clock in the morning baking a cake. So that was fun. All right. Ooh, these are a good color. I am highly satisfied with my latke performance.
Ooh, ah.
All right, so if the temperature is too high, your latke will very quickly burn on the outside and be raw in the middle. And so you do want to make sure that you're monitoring the temperature. So dare I say, if any of you have ever had a McDonald's hash brown, the color of a McDonald's hash brown would taste way better. Another one of the tricks that I am particularly fond of is this thing, which in my family, we call a scrapey do. And every year when my mom was making latke or makes latke, there are some phrases that we always hear. One is, where's the scrapey do? And the other is, where's the fruit fresh? And fruit fresh is this very bizarre, it's an excellent source of vitamin C, but it's this weird powder that you can sometimes find in the produce section that is designed to prevent things from oxidizing. So I have some that I keep just because every year my sister and I, as we're making latke, run around going, fruit fresh, because that's what we do every year in my household as we're making it. You know, everyone's a little crazy when they cook. My family spends a lot of time in the kitchen. The scrapey do you can actually buy at a hardware store. This is a paint, it's used for paint straight lines when you're painting, or as a spackle. They have culinary ones, but they're like half the size. And if you're cutting a lot of onions, you want big. So you could just scoop stuff up and put it right in a bowl. This is a must-have.
Great tip.
Now you will see that the latke are done. So I am excited about that. All right, so I am just taking these guys out and we're gonna let those drain. And now I'm going to show you what we're going to do with the rest of the potato. So I've got all the rest of this potato. I am going to take half of it and put it into a separate bowl. And so I will now have 2 even portions that remain. And I'm going to start with the Southwestern, air quotes, version of the latke. And so what I've got here is my basic mixture. I am going to add 1 grated yam to this one because fried sweet potatoes or fried yams are amazing, right? They have a little bit of sweetness and crunch to them. I am going to blend that. So I've got a blend of regular potato and yam now. And that onion mixture and the flour and egg is all still in there. To that, I am going to add, I've got a random piece of onion in there. I've got about a teaspoon of cumin. I've got a teaspoon of garlic powder and a teaspoon of chili powder. And that can be like any kind of chili powder. If you like spicy, get a spicy one. If you don't like spicy, get a mild. And then I also have, because my sister Jen just gave me this awesome jar of spice mix that she made, some chili mix, I'm going to add that into this too. And you just dump the whole thing right in. Super easy. And I'm just going to mix this up with my hand and and I'm gonna drop half of it on the floor. Nacho, our dog's name is Nacho. So Nacho can come and clean that up. See, even our animals are named after food. Now I'm gonna do the exact same thing because there will still be enough moisture in here to keep this going, to keep these together. And I will gently add that in, and I'm gonna turn that oil down because that is a happy fryer right there. I think that one fell apart a little bit. Keep a little bit of flour on standby in case you need to add just a little bit more. All right, and rinse. Now, while those are cooking, I can plate my first ones. Now, traditionally, for your basic latke, it's usually just sour cream or applesauce. Like those are the fundamentals. Like my kids love applesauce. But if you want to get a little frou-frou, what you can do is take your sour cream. So I just have a little bit of sour cream here, and I will do a dollop of each. I have some fresh dill, and I will just pick a couple of sprigs and place that on, or you can chop it and drop a little. I don't like a ton of dill. I just like a tiny little amount, just enough to get the flavor. And then our friend black caviar makes everything better. So you just take a little bit of caviar, and now you have posh spice vodka, which are super yummy. Yay! So that is the first round. That's what I would consider to be the traditional ones.
Adam, that looks so good.
I will mail that to you right away, Alex.
Thanks.
Now, as you can see in this pan with the yam, they are a darker color. And it's also because my oil got really hot while I was talking. So I turned the oil temperature down, and this is where having a mesh spider web or just mesh strainer with a long handle super helpful, because you want to get out those little burnt bits that are floating around that I said were so good. They are good. You just don't want to leave them in here too long, or they will burn and then flavor your oil burnt, and that's no fun.
Hey, Adam, good question. Is there a way to make really good latkes vegan? Like without eggs?
I would say absolutely. So rather than using eggs or even regular flour, you might want to try using something like tapioca flour, which has a little bit more texture, or maybe even like a little bit of like a really thick coconut milk or something that has a mild flavor, because you don't really want the egg to contribute to the flavor as much as you just want it to be a binding agent.
Right.
So yeah, everything is like super easy to make vegetarian. Like I'm pretty sure that there's things like almond milk, sour creams, or cashew butters, things of that nature. And I would totally use that.
Good question, Sherry. Thank you.
For the topping for the Southwestern, we are going to make a chipotle lime sour cream, or chipotle lime cream, with cilantro. And so to do that, I've got some more of the sour cream right here, which is just regular sour cream. And I love chipotles in adobo sauce. So these are just like the smoky, well, here's what they look like. They kind of look like sun-dried tomatoes, and they're really good. And so I'm gonna take about 2 of these to about 1 cup of the sour cream. And I am going to chop this, but instead of just like chopping regularly this way, I'm actually going to press it and kind of smear it to crush it. And then I'm going to chop it into finer bits. And then I'm going to smear it again, just to get it more into a paste. And I am just gonna put it right in.
Genius.
This is also how I treat anchovies when I'm making Caesar salad. You just mush them to death. You put them right in. Now, you can also, I know some people, Alex, don't like cilantro. I love cilantro. So there are 2 ways to go about doing this. If you know that you've got people who don't like cilantro, don't chop it up and don't put it into this mix, and don't invite them, because they're gonna ruin your party. They're horrible people.
Yep, it's true.
So you can instead save this as a garnish. So that way, if people don't like it, they could just take it off. Okay, so I've got the chipotle, I've got the sour cream, and I'm gonna add a little bit of salt, some pepper, and a little bit of lime juice. And you mix it all up. And
for
that also makes the dogs
non-cilantro
happy.
people, you could add maybe Italian parsley or some chives.
Absolutely, you absolutely could do that. In fact, I have some chives here just for that purpose.
For me.
Thank you for reminding me. All right, so now we are ready to plate number 2. So I've got my slightly deformed latke for the yam. I'm just going to take a dollop of the chipotle cream that we just made. Put that on top. I am then going to take and place my sprigs of cilantro. That is a crazy sprig. I just want the tips. And I will serve these with actually a lime wedge. Think of it as like kind of like a tequila shot. Since we are talking vodka and latke, it's all about the alcohol. So with these, I have tasted these, I have tested them, and it is really good to squeeze the lime over, and you just get this amazing, yummy, smoky, citrusy, plus crunchy fried goodness. If you like vinegar, salt and vinegar chips, it kind of like lives in that family of tasty. And that's really kind of a good thing to consider is anytime you're frying a whole lot of food or you're serving heavily fried foods, like this is enough to be a meal into itself, but you kind of want to have something to cut through just all of the grease. And so sour cream, even though it's cream and more fat, it is actually like it tastes really clean. And so it helps filter out the grease. The other thing is the lime juice that helps do that. Dog, you need to move. I know, I'm not gonna, no, you can't have that. All right, next step is our last version, which is the Japanese tonkatsu style. So this is the remaining potato mixture that we have. So this is the unadulterated from our original batch. It's the same recipe, haven't done anything to it. Now, this time, we're going to add carrot. So this is a just same grater with carrot. I've done one. This is only one carrot. Like that gets you about a full cup. And so I'm going to add the carrot directly. I will also add about 3/4 cup of Japanese daikon, which is Japanese radish. And the daikon, this is the grated version of it, but usually they're very, very long and they have a mild flavor compared to red radish. If you haven't had them, they are absolutely delicious. And I will also add about a teaspoon of, there goes my voice, teaspoon of ground ginger. And so I'll add the ginger. If you want to get really fancy or go in like a Thai direction or a different, this is galangal or galangal, depending on how you like to say it, which is kind of like ginger root, but it's way more aromatic and perfumey. And it's just like the best thing ever. Like if I could rub this all over my body, I would. It's super
gigantic.
Good. It is. It is. I also have a teaspoon of chopped garlic. And I will now add, just to be on the safe side, a little bit more flour, maybe about like another tablespoon. And I'm gonna pachki with this. This is good pachki.
You wanna check the oil before you?
I should. We're in a good zone.
Okay.
I also want to add about a teaspoon of roasted sesame oil. Because that's
I'll go on
really
mute for
yummy.
that. Sorry.
was that a what was that?
I really love a really good sesame oil.
It does, and it doesn't take much, right?
No,
like the amount that I have there would last me like 10 years.
Yeah, that's
so
a bath.
I am going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to squeeze it, and then I'm going to gently place them in. Now, again, this one also can be made vegan using the same methods. This one it's probably, I like to say it's better for you because it's got a carrot in it.
100%. It's so healthy.
Who am I fooling? Right?
And then you deep fry it and it's super healthy.
And you put 2 scoops of ice cream on top.
To cut through the fat.
Absolutely. It's all part of Weight Watchers. Okay. My station is getting a little bit messy, so I have a towel here somewhere. So I'm gonna wipe down the cilantro, get that out of here.
While you're multitasking, our inquirers want to know if you cook like this all the time, why are you so handsome and thin?
Oh, you're precious.
Wow. No, seriously. This is
I don't know about you guys, but at the beginning of COVID and all this 2020 nonsense, I was as big as a freaking house. I had actually reached like my all-time weight high. I was well over 200 pounds, and I was just kind of like, I don't care, the world's coming to an end, feed me. And so I had a lot of food therapy. And then, you know, when we're all sitting there doing nothing but shopping online and checking Facebook to commiserate with one another, Noom, the Noom program. I don't know if you've seen ads for Noom, but it's the psychological approach to weight loss. It's like, whatever, you just track food and you do all of this stuff. And I joined it. And I was like, I lost like almost 50 pounds in like 3 months, which probably isn't healthy, but it was fun. Go check it out.
So how do you taste
moderation
this? Okay.
Oh yeah, like I'll take a bite. It's just like a caloric limit, right? Like,
okay.
So limit your calories and make sure the calories are coming from certain things, proportionately speaking. So, you know, don't spend all of your calories on chocolate chip cookies. So I will spend half of my daily calories on chocolate chip cookies and maybe eat 3 carrots to offset that, because it's all about balance.
Okay, we're not recommending this on behalf of the GAA.
This is not a doctor certified plan. So now I'm going to, as you can see, these guys are getting ready. They are almost done. And so I have got a bowl of pre-shredded cabbage. If you are lazy like me, you can actually just buy a bag of shredded cabbage. It's like coleslaw mix at the supermarket. Like, this is actually more cost effective if you buy whole cabbage though. So I do like to penny pinch on very strange things, cabbage being one of them.
Cabbage stays fresh in your fridge for like a week and a half too.
It does. It has a very long shelf life.
Yeah.
And cabbage is vital because in Japan, when you go to a proper tonkatsu restaurant, you get a lot of shredded cabbage on the side. And sometimes if you go to like really one of the old style ones, they even have special handheld cabbage slicers that some of the servers walk around with, and they will fresh grate cabbage into a bowl and then serve it to you. And it's great because it absorbs all of the fat, but you still eat the cabbage with the tonkatsu sauce.
But it's interesting how it shows up so prominently in so many different cultures. In Mexican, I'm Canadian Irish, and like you don't go a week without cabbage.
Because it's hardy and it grows in the winter. Like it's kind of like a winter vegetable or an autumn vegetable. So I think that's probably where it comes from, is that they start, I just squished a latke, you guys. See, I can't talk. I would, if you were here, I wouldn't let you eat this one. That would go right into the bin.
I'd eat it.
No, you don't want that.
I do.
You don't want that one.
No, I really do.
All right. Now, let's pretend that these were just a little bit more done. I'll use that one as an illusion. It's the magic of TV, guys. I have these 2 perfect latke. Ignore the ones in the background. And now with tonkatsu, oh, you know what? I forgot a whole giant step. Before you fry them, there is the opportunity to take your mixture, or this could be a double fry. Oh. We're going to invent something on the fly, you guys, okay? Take your partially cooked latke, do a very light egg coat, all right? While it's still slightly underdone. See, this all worked out. It was all part of my plan. And I have a plate of panko, which are Japanese breadcrumbs. Yay! Which are super yummy. And then throw that bad boy right back in.
It's like a double carb, double fry opportunity.
Uh-huh. And actually, that is, in the restaurant business, you always fry your French fries twice. if you want a really good crispy French fry, or even traditional pommes frites, the French version, you have to cook them once and then take them out and then cook them again. And that gets you like the perfect puffy, crispy French fry.
Okay, who
So
else is starving? Let's have a show of hands. Who else is like drooling? Okay, just me. All right. So Adam, you've got about 9 minutes left. You're right on track, though. Yeah.
We got it.
Are there any other questions from the crew? Feel free to speak up. All right, I'll keep asking. What do you do with your oil after?
This is another reason why Crisco is great.
Okay, that wasn't a plant, just for the record.
I really need to get a Crisco commission. I just want to say.
I know.
Because when Crisco cools off, it hardens again. And so you can use your scrapey do to just scrape it right into your compost. And you don't have to drain it into anything, which is always a nightmare.
That's a game changer for me. That just sealed the Crisco fat deal for me.
Yeah, liquid shortening, I don't know about you guys, but it's a nightmare to get rid of. And you wind up spilling it over half the counter.
Yeah, and I've got like 3 yogurt containers of mixed grease on my counter.
That sounds amazing. All right, so now this is just honestly very, I got the thumbs up from Tomoko. This is what I consider, and Michelle, very generic, but amazing Bulldog brand Tonkatsu sauce. And Bulldog brand, what they call it, it's funny because in English it's called vegetable and fruit sauce, which I would never have thought to look for on Amazon. But in parentheses, it says Tonkatsu sauce. And with this one, I will just drizzle right across the top.
What does it taste like, the sauce?
Oh, Michelle and Tomoko, how would you describe it?
I feel like there's a little bit of a savory ketchupness to it, but it's more savory than tart. But there's a little bit of tart.
There's almost like a ginger component in there too. There's like a raw, very raw gingery. And you can either garnish this with chopped chives, or if you wanted to feel extra Japanese, you could do bonito flakes, which are the fish flakes on top. And it would almost be like takoyaki, which would also be delicious. And so that is 3 ways to make latke, my friends. And scene with what? 6 minutes. 6 minutes to spare.
Amazing.
You the man.
Can you do it without the oil? Just do it on a grill with a little bit of oil?
I've never tried. And I wouldn't. Actually, that's a great question. Thank you, because it actually helps me tell the story about Hanukkah, because the whole celebration of Hanukkah and the reason why we fry a lot of stuff on Hanukkah is because it's all about the candles and the miracle of the oil in the temple, that it was only supposed to last for 1 night. During the destruction of the temple thousands of years ago, wound up lasting for 8 nights, which is why 8 nights we celebrate Hanukkah. And that oil is actually very symbolic. So if you were to just grill it, you'd be missing out on, I think, some of the culinary symbolism that is represented here. So in addition to latke, there are other traditional Hanukkah foods, one of them being Sufganiyot, which is the Israeli word for jelly donut. And jelly donuts are actually an Israeli specific tradition. So you will oftentimes, like the Krispy Kremes here right now are just like completely sold out of jelly donuts because you buy them in just like by the dozen. And you know how in the US cupcakes are an obsession and like everyone's like super fancy with their cupcakes? My friends in Israel sent me photos of their Sufganiyot this year and they are like art pieces. It's insane. And it's all just a jelly donut, but it's like people go over the top to make these things really festive. So after we eat all of these latke, we're gonna light our Chanukiot, which is what we call, you will often hear people refer to this as a menorah, but I'm going to give you a Jew lesson. Oops, I dropped a candle. Here's my Jew lesson. This is actually a Chanukiah, and a menorah has a different number of candles in it than a Chanukiah. A menorah is typically used to represent the number of days of the week and the Shabbat, or the Sabbath, being the tallest one. A Chanukiah has one for all 8 nights. So technically, if you used a menorah, you'd be short a night of Hanukkah, and the kids wouldn't be happy with that because then they wouldn't get presents on that night. So there you go. Thank you for letting me share. Thanks
That
for
was
coming to my house, you
amazing.
guys.
Adam, that was awesome.
So awesome. Great to see everybody.
Good.
That was fun.
Cheers.
Happy holidays, everyone.
So
Happy
fun,
holidays.
Anna.
Happy holidays. Thank you.
Mazel
Happy
tov.
holidays.
Thank you,
I miss
Adam.
you
See
guys.
everyone.
Thank you, Adam.
So
Thanks,
don't
Adam.
forget the recipe will be posted. The recipes will be posted on the GAA network, and so will the recording. If you want to watch it back or have any other questions, you can reach out to us.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you, guys.
Hi, Noah.
Nice to see everybody.
Nice to see you
Thanks.
guys.
Gave him some
Hi.
eye
Hey,
contact.
everybody.
Great to have you, Howard.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
Thanks
See
for
you,
coming,
Howard.
Howard.
There's
Thanks, everyone.
another,
So
there's
good to
another
see you.
method to this that he didn't share with you. You
What's
can go to
that?
Trader Joe's and they have them frozen.
Those are the hash browns. You're in the wrong section.
I won't let my wife cook them in the house because they stink up the house.
I didn't want to tell her.
Oh,
that.
Howard.
It'll smell like latke and onions in here for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Go to Trader
Spot
Joe's.
on. Spot on.
Bye, guys.
Oh my
Oh,
Yeah,
bye,
bye-bye.
Dad.
Everyone.
God.
Bye, guys.